Hi guys, I am continuing the How to Be Psychic series and going over some of my most commonly asked questions when I do a reading for people personally. Not only to make a video series for the people that I do readings for, but also to put it out into the public realm for people that haven't had a reading with me and just want to know more about how it feels or how to connect better with their guides or intuition or how to increase their psychicness. So I often get asked when doing a reading how to connect with guides, specifically when I work with clients and I will identify their guides for them. There's different kinds of guides. There's like ancestral guides that the person never actually knew, but it's just like a part of their DNA lineage, it almost seems like. There's family guides, like people that have literally passed over from your immediate family that are guides. And then there's angel guides, and there's like star guides, like the way I understand it, like something that hasn't actually ever lived in form, but is more like kind of aligned with the angelic sphere because the angels have never been here either, but more of an energetic, like light being or star being or something like that. There's alien guides. There's just a plethora of guides. Some people literally their pets are like here actually as their guides. So that's what I'm going to talk about with you guys. So you can identify your guides and you don't need someone like me to help you connect. So luckily for you, connecting and being able to communicate with your guides is really just like any other human relationship. It just takes time. It just takes an intention in your heart to get to know them, just like any interpersonal relationship. And it gets you, it just takes you being open to when you receive information from them to, find a way to acknowledge it. Now, that being said, I'm very critical of all the messages that I get from my own guidance. Like, it better be spot on, it better be exact, it better be like showing up as like typewriter print on my wall. Like, and I actually find most psychic people are like this. Um, because there's a lot of questioning and there's a lot of discerning going on when it comes to getting guidance, because especially if you're going to be read for other people, you don't want to, the guides do a lot of confirming to you if you are on the road to reading for other people or providing that sacred service for other people. You'll receive a lot of confirmation from your guides before you're ever expected to make that step. So that being said, the easiest guidance that I've found to connect with is probably the guides that you have that already communicate with you, and that's passed over loved ones. So the reason it's so easy for them to instantly connect with you is because you know them already. Like, you already know what they are like. You already know what they would show up, and you know the things that would remind you of them. So it's really easy for them to actually give you signs that they're there. It's really just up to you and your soul and your heart to kind of confirm that it's actually them. So I'm going to try and help you with that, because that is very hard, because I know, especially when we lose somebody we really love, we so want that connection still, that when we actually get that connection, our brain, like our monkey mind, has a tendency to be like, oh, well, that was just coincidence. It's not, but I'm going to kind of walk you through the kind of feeling and the steps to confirm that, so that you can continue to get those messages stronger and clearer, because that's all that your past over loved ones or your guides are looking for, is for you to open a little bit of your soul and your heart to acknowledge these messages. And then they're like, it's on like Donkey Kong, like we are doing this. So the first part is just acknowledging and being open to communicating in that way. So parents, or loved ones, they are showing up for us all the time and we may not realize it. So whenever you think of a loved one that's passed away, they're literally there. Like, I have no way to prove this to you, but I'm just going to tell you from my experience. And if you've had a reading for me, like, clearly, you know that I say things that I don't know how to prove that I know them. But in my experience, when you think of a loved one, they're there. Um, if you find in your life, if something reminds you of them, like a bird suddenly shows up when you really need like mom or dad, or you're thinking of a child, or just somebody that was important to you that passed over, and something flying, they really the spirit world, they really are able to manipulate birds and flying things like butterflies or dragonflies or bugs, or all those things, and also feathers. So if you literally have a bird or a butterfly, and something just clicks in your mind, like, oh, well, that must be, it is. Okay. And the sooner that you acknowledge that it is, and it's not just your brain going crazy because you want to connect, they'll see that as an open door and they'll be able to utilize that more with you, because you just essentially made an agreement with them, that yes, this is you. And because of that acknowledgement, and you should feel it in your heart, like being on the psychic realm, like communicating, um, across the veil, or however you want to see it. To me, there's no actual separation or actual veil. Like, the veil is our brain. That's the only thing that stops us, like rationalization. Although I have a guide that helped me work out the science of it, so it makes sense to me, because I could never do anything spiritual that didn't make scientific sense. So that's another topic in another video. Anyway, as soon as you make that agreement with your guides about how, yes, I will acknowledge that this was you, they're going to be able to step it up, and they feel so much joy from just that acknowledgement. Like 99% of what I do and what I find the most joy with when I connect with people is just confirming to them, and I'm getting truth chills, that yes, their loved one is there. And usually that comes from confirmations of their family and their loved ones just showing me things that happened when they were totally by themselves. So just that confirmation is going to mean a ton to you. So my biggest suggestion when trying to communicate with your guides is to start with somebody that's passed over. Like, you have an instant in on that level, because the people that have passed over already have a love for you. They already have, like, they want to comfort you and they want to communicate with you. So that's actually going to be the easiest thing to connect with. Disclosure, unless there's a lot of pain still in that, in their death or in their passing. So even though you might have a religious faith that does consist of the soul being eternal, there's still a lot of pain when someone's not around you every day. There's still a lot of pain when somebody is not in physicality, and your life does change. So I have zero doubt that, in fact, I know that especially people that are mourning, like their loved ones are there with you, mourning with you. It's just sometimes, and I've experienced this a lot in readings with people, that their loved ones literally say, like, we'd show up more and we'd give you more signs and we'd remind you more that we're around still, by like smells or music, or like leaving feathers, or like, just leaving things of theirs around, or something that they know would remind you of them. But it still brings up pain for the people. And they don't, that your passed on loved ones don't want to bring you more pain when you're already mourning. So if you're still in that mourning step, I'm sending all of my love to you, because grief doesn't have a time limit. and most likely you will always miss those people. From my aspect, I would love for you to connect with your loved ones um, in a way I find most beautiful and comforting, in a way that I've found a lot of joy in my heart, knowing that my loved ones are still around. Um, but there's no timetable for that. Sometimes in those instances, you might need someone else to do a reading for you, just because you aren't able to, grief is a lot. So if that's the case, I do go live on YouTube. I'd be happy to connect with you. Otherwise, go to nerdistempath.com and I'd be happy to schedule a session with you concerning that. But if you are open to having your loved one showed up, or this most likely has already happened to you, I just want to say you're already communicating with guides. As it comes to the other types of guides that there are, all you have to do is what you would do in a normal human relationship. So set aside time to get to know your guides. Set aside an intention. So the intention can be in your heart, just to like know your guidance and receive that kind of just like a roadmap in life. It's really, really advantageous. So maybe for you, that would be like once a week or whatever amount of time you're willing to take, like going in a certain room and lighting candle and incense and just sitting quietly and saying, this is my time for my guidance. And just you going through the material steps on this plane of doing things that indicate that you're open and doing these repeatedly, your guides are going to show up for you. You may start to get a feeling during the times that you put aside. You may start to get repeated patterns of things or thoughts that come up. And I encourage you to write down things after you are kind of putting these things time aside for your guidance or for your guides, because you'll start to see a pattern emerge. They love it when you kind of agree to a form of communication. That's all they're really looking for. And a lot of people do this through like tarot or oracle cards, or you could do it any way you want. Like I tell a lot of people that when they're wanting to connect with their guides, to start a dream journal. And then your guides are like, oh, yes, like this person is starting a dream journal. So we know that we can come through their dreams and they're going to write those down. And they're just looking for whatever form of communication that you're comfortable doing and that you're comfortable really committing to. It'll feel awkward at first. And especially if you're silencing your mind through something like meditation. And meditation is really hard if you're just trying to be like non-thinking. So I do use binaural beats. I give these away freely. Go to my website, nerdistempath.com, and go to the bottom of the page and sign up for my mailing list. I never send out mailings. I'm so bad about that. But if you say like meditation music or whatever, I would be happy to send you those tracks for free so that you could utilize those. So those, they play different beats in both ears, and they kind of force your brain to go into a meditative state, which makes it easier and more clear for the thinking to stop, for you to actually receive the pictures in your brain and the messages to come through in a less noisy fashion. Yeah, what else can I say about the guidance? So yeah, I encourage everybody for this reason, if you're looking to connect with your guides, just decide what type of communication is most comfortable for you, and they'll work with whatever you decide. Whatever you decide is right for you. Maybe you like want to do the runes, or that's free. You just go out and find some flat stones and you write whatever kind of symbols on it that you want. Maybe you want to do dream journals. Maybe you want to just like Just waking up every morning and sitting in silence. Uh, it just takes a couple minutes and just ask, what do I need to know about today? You can have a bowl of crystals by your bed and just pick up a crystal and whatever crystal that is, if you're into crystallology, that's a sign from your guides and what you're concentrating on today. Yeah, but all of those things are very helpful. What's most important is just your intention, really, of connecting with your guides is going to be the most important thing. When it comes to guides, I found with people that if they have a guide from a certain like historical time, usually they're have been highly interested in that historical time period. Over the summer, I think I did a reading for somebody, and she had a guidance. It was coming across almost shamanistic, but more warrior. And then it like clicked with me during her reading. I was like, oh, you have like um, well, it came to my mind that this was like a Viking type Norse. I'm getting truth chills again. She had a Norse guidance system. And so I asked her, like, you ever have any like interest in the Vikings or like North mythology or like the shamans uh of the Norse? And it did, it resonated with her. Another person had a guidance that was like a 1940s brilliant, beautiful like housewife. Essentially, she had like a polka dot dress on and like and this person happened to be like super interested in like that time period and that particular era. So if there's an era that you're interested in, if there's like a look or a feel or a certain niche, that's most likely your guidance already telling you a heads up. So you can definitely just be like, hey, guides, like, I want to know you, and they're going to show up for you. Um, just be accepting of what you get after after you set that intention. Don't be looking for like signs all over, but maybe make a guide journal where like, you just put, this is my book about my guides, and you can write down all the synchronicities that you were having show up. Some people do angel numbers, which can get crazy, and a lot of people have very different takes on that. If you're doing angel numbers, I have this obscure, very accurate person that I use for numbers when they show up for me. It's JOANNES Sacred Scribes. I can maybe link her website in this video. And it's always spot on. When I have a weird number show up, like an odd number, like 918, I get that all the time. Or if I have a question and then suddenly I'll get little sparks with the numbers. Like, so it's not like I'm writing down every number, but when there's a sign, you will feel that it's a sign. Like you'll be like, one day it was like the odometer or whatever on my car. And I've never like even looked at that before. Like seriously, I'm kind of flighty. And it was like, I should take a picture of that number. Like you'll get the feeling and you'll get the prompt to do these things. So trust that feeling, because it's like them nudging you a little bit, like, hey, this is what you're into if you're into numbers or whatever, and this is the number we want you to have. And I think that establishing where you're going to look to find this information is super important. If an animal shows up, or if you have the feeling that an animal showed up for a reason, find one website, and say, hey, this is where I'm going for totem information. And then your guidance will be able to use that. So I think that is all I have. Oh, and you can draw your guides. I drew one of my guides once. Yeah, and it was because I wanted to see, it was before I could like really see things, and I wanted to see what this particular guide looked like. And I'm not an artist at all, but I was very accurately able to draw that guide. So even if you're not an artist and you want to draw what your guide looks like, it's just like automatic writing. I have a lot of confidence you'd be able to do that. So anything else about the guides? No, it's all about establishing a relationship. So if your intention is there, and you want to, know your guides, which I find to be so indispensable in my life. Every morning when I wake up, I light an incense for my family members that have passed over, just like so grateful that they're still in my life. And also for my guide tribe, my little, I call them my goof troop because they have to put up with me really. So I light an incense for them, and just am really grateful and thankful when I wake up that they have that they are in my life, and that they like screamed loud enough when I needed it the most, to make themselves known to me. So if that's something you're looking to connect to, um, I'm really happy for you, because I don't know how I'd like maneuver this crazy world without something that is for sure, and something that I can depend upon, and something that I know always has my back. Um, and if I could give that to everybody in the world, I definitely would. So if you have any questions about um, connecting to your guides more, or guidance in general, just put them down in the comment box. I'd be happy to answer any additional questions, or anything like that for you. If you want confirmation on what you feel is your guidance just from a different person, if you feel you have a guide a certain way, you definitely do. Otherwise, you wouldn't feel that way. But if you just need outside confirmation, which sometimes we do need, um, I'm going to go on here live. I do go on here live to get notified of that. It's not really about clicking a little bell. It's about going to my website, signing up for my newsletter, and then I send out a mass email the day of. And I trust that whoever needs to be there will show up. So I love you guys, and yeah, good luck on connecting. It's really the most valuable part of my life. So um, if it can be a part of yours, that's amazing. All right. Love you guys. Bye.